Hello everybody and welcome back to another video here on the one and only Tribal Warrior YouTube channel. And of course I am the Tribal Warrior, and in today's video, as you see by the thumbnail and as you see by the title, we will be taking a look at my 2026 WWE Clash in Italy review. So of course, the WWE's first ever premium live event in Italy took place this past Sunday, May 31st, 2026 in Torino, Italy, delivering a memorable night of championship matches, personal rivalries, and a major storyline developments. With two major WWE titles on the line, Brock Lesnar returning to face one of the WWE's fastest rising stars and one of potentially one of the greatest main roster call-ups of all time. Of course, we also saw tribal combat in the main event between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu. Overall, Clash in Italy felt like a significant stop on WWE's international calendar. Backed by a passionate Italian crowd, the show featured strong in-ring action throughout and several moments that will have a lasting consequence heading into the 2026 summer for the WWE. So of course we had 5 matches and we're going to dig our teeth into those and review them. We're going to go by talking about what happened in the match, and we're also going to talk about my prediction because of my predictions video. Of course I predicted each match and we're going to see which matches I got correct and which matches I got incorrect. So with that being said, let's go match by match. So, Clash in Italy opened with Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Undisputed Championship against Gunther. The challenger, of course, in Gunther, imposed his trademark physical style from the opening bell, battering Cody Rhodes with brutal shots and, forcing the champion into a survival battle. Cody answered with his usual resilience, repeatedly finding ways back into the match whenever it seemed like Gunther had taken complete control. The closing moments of the match produced the biggest controversy of the night. After connecting the crossroads, Cody Rhodes successfully pinned Gunther to retain the championship, but replay footage appeared to show Gunther's foot underneath the bottom rope during the count. Obviously, this means that the count should break up when, of course, a wrestler is in a submission move, is in that pinfall move, or in any move, and if he manages or she manages to grab any rope or puts a body part under the rope, even if it's a fingernail, if their body is under that rope, that means the move that is being produced on them has to be cancelled. It's called a rope break. If you're a normal WWE fan, you know what I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to say, as you see in the bottom right photo, Gunther's foot was under the bottom rope when this count was in its stake, and of course the referee did not see this, so the referee counted 1, 2, 3, and Cody Rhodes retained the WWE Championship. So yeah, Cody Rhodes stood tall and left turn with the title, while Gunther departed with a disappointed look that could easily lead to a rematch. And of course, in my predictions video, I did predict Gunther to win the championship. I did not get that prediction correct, but I only mainly said that Gunther was going to win the championship because, of course, Gunther is this dominant force we've seen in the WWE over the past few months. Of course, he's retired Goldberg, AJ Styles, and some would argue the greatest of all time, never seen 17, John Cena. So of course, if he'd literally retired those legends and had an amazing past few months in the WWE, but somehow managed to lose against Cody Rhodes, I wasn't seeing that happening. But of course it did happen, but thankfully it wasn't in a clean manner. Thankfully, Gunther's foot was under the bottom rope, so it wasn't just a clean win for Cody, because of course his foot was under the bottom rope to kind of protect Gunther, and I'm not complaining at this. Of course, if you wanted Cody to retain as a WWE creative, you would have done something. So at least it wasn't a clean win. At least they protected Gunther and could lead to a future match against Cody Rhodes, maybe at Night of Champions on June 27th. But we're just going to have to keep watching the amazing show that's SmackDown to find out more. So then we got this great match. The second match saw Rhea Ripley defending the WWE Women's Championship in a WrestleMania rematch against Jade Cargill in a clash of two of the most dominant, physically dominant. I already said that. Physically dominant women on the roster. Ripley entered as the established champion, but Cargill immediately showed why, and many viewed her as the future face of the division by matching Ripley in both strength and intensity. The contest was built around Cargill's power and Rhea's experience. With both women producing several believable near falls, the Italian crowd remained firmly behind Ripley throughout the match, creating an amazing electric atmosphere whenever the champion mounted a comeback. In the end, Michin and BFAB made their way down to the ring to try and cost Rhea Ripley and assist Jade Cargill. However, Charlotte Flair also made her way out to save Rhea Ripley. As you see in the bottom right picture, Charlotte took out BFAB and Michin. Of course, Alexa Bliss was not there at that show. Ripley weathered the challenger and retained her title. Through Cargill's performance, further established her as a future player in the WWE's women's division. But the main story here is Rhea Ripley defended and retained this championship, and I really do think this is an amazing match of the night contender. This match was really good. I wasn't expecting it to be that good, but of course we had those near falls, and that really just like built up that kind of fast paced kind of heart moments where it's like 1, 2, and like the really like 2.999 kick out was like really electric, or the unexpected kick outs as well. But this match was great. So, Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi, the third match of the night. Brock Lesnar's showdown with Oba Femi was exactly what fans kind of expected. A violent collision between two physical powerhouses and beasts. Of course, it was the beast versus the ruler. Of course, rather than being a technical wrestling match, this was a battle of raw strength and endurance, with both men looking to overwhelm the other through sheer force. What made the match stand out was Femi's refusal to stay down. Lesnar unleashed multiple F5s and increasingly desperate attacks as the younger star continued to fight back. Eventually, Lesnar secured the victory after an astonishing 7 F5s, and one of those F5s were through a table, as you see in the photo there. But the result almost felt like a secondary to the statement made by Femi. Even in defeat, he proved he belongs among WWE's elite heavyweights, and this match was great. I did predict Brock Lesnar to win this match because of we are now 1-1. Oba Femi won at WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar won a Clash in Italy. So it's 1-1. Will we get a third and final match? I think we need a stipulation on that third and final match. What do we think the stipulation will be? Will it be last man standing? Hell in a Cell? False count anywhere? What are we thinking? Or just a normal one-on-one match? But I think we need a stipulation for this final showdown. Where will it take place though? Will it take place at SummerSlam, which is what a lot of people are talking about? A lot of people think is going to take place at SummerSlam, but the interesting thing is Oba Femi has been announced for the King of the Ring tournament. Of course, we'll talk about that later in the video, but yes, Oba has been announced for the King of the Ring tournament, but if he wins the King of the Ring tournament, he automatically gets a spot at SummerSlam for a WWE Championship. But the thing is, he cannot have 2 matches at SummerSlam. Now, hear me out, he definitely could, but it's very rare for that to happen. So we're gonna see how things play out in the foreseeable future of the WWE. So then we got the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. It was Becky Lynch defending against the young, amazing Sol Ruca. Of course, this match provided one of the night's biggest moments. Of course, Becky Lynch entered as champion and appeared confident against the less experienced Sol Ruca. But the challenger quickly demonstrated that she belongs on the big stage. Ruka's athletic offense repeatedly caught Lynch off guard, and the crowd became increasingly invested as the possibility of a upset and a new champion grew. After surviving everything Becky threw at her, Ruka capitalized on her opportunity and scored the pinfall victory after, once again, a great soul snatcher. And of course, that resulted in her to become the new Women's Intercontinental Champion. It was a breakout performance and the kind of career-defining moment that can instantly elevate Sol Ruca. And of course, this match was good. Of course, we saw this match last weekend at Saturday night's main event, and that match was really, really bad. Worst match of the night that was. But this match was quite good. Of course, we saw that moment with Jessica Carr multiple times. She got involved in the match because, of course, Becky tried to get her to intervene. And of course, we had that one spot where Jessica was pushed into the ropes by Becky Lynch, and of course, Sol Ruca was on the top rope. So of course, Jessica pushed into the ropes, and because of Sol was on the top rope, Sol fell, and it kind of like set up the next few moves or whatever. But yeah, great match. We got a new champ. Congrats to Sol Ruca. Then the main event saw Roman Reigns defending the World Heavyweight Championship and the role of Tribal Chief against Jacob Fatu in Tribal Combat. This match carried enormous personal stakes. This wasn't just about a championship, it was about family, legacy, and supremacy within the bloodline. The match delivered the brutality and emotion fans expected. Of course, because it is tribal combat, there were no rules, so there was no disqualifications. So of course, weapons came into play. The intensity never dipped, and Fatu looked like a genuine threat to Roman Reigns throughout the contest. Several near falls had the crowd on edge of their seats as the challenger in Jacob Fatu pushed the champion to his limit. Ultimately, Roman Reigns survived the war and retained the title, but Fatu emerged from the match with his credibility enhanced, proving he can hang with the WWE's biggest star in this main event setting. Of course, after the match, we saw Sol Ruca and the MFTs, of course, Talatonga and Tamatonga, and we saw them in the crowd just behind the barricade, and Roman said, he kind of muffled that, he's next, I'm going to whoop his ass next, and of course, that was talking about Solo Sikoa. So maybe we might be hinting towards another Bloodline versus Bloodline saga, another Bloodline versus Bloodline feud, and I don't mind that. A lot of people are hating on it, but I only like it if it goes for like a 2-month period, a 1-month period. I don't want this feud to drag until next year. So yeah, we might be getting that feud. I'm also recording this literally just after Monday Night Raw. So Monday Night Raw just took place. So we had that opening segment on Raw where Jacob Fatu acknowledged Roman Reigns. So that means Jacob Fatu has officially respected Reigns and now has joined the Bloodline alongside Jimmy Uso, alongside Jey Uso, and of course alongside the OTC, the Tribal Chief, the one, the only, the World Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns. So yeah, great show. I did predict Roman to win. I just didn't see Jacob winning. I didn't see the concept of the WWE changing just like that. But of course, I got most of my predictions right. The only one I got incorrect was that Cody Rhodes versus Gunther match. But we weren't finished there because we got a major announcement on the post-show for Clash in Italy. So, of course, on the post show, we got the King of the Ring tournament announced and we got the lineup revealed. So, of course, we have the top left match there. It was Penta versus Obafemi versus Solo Sikoa versus Carmelo Hayes. And we saw this match on Raw just an hour or two ago, and Obafemi won that match. So Obafemi has advanced to the semi-finals. So these are the first round and technically the quarterfinals already. So we are moving on to the semi-finals in a couple of weeks' time. But another match there, and I think this match is happening next week on Raw in Paris, France. Dominic Mysterio versus Braun Breaker versus Trick Williams versus Damian Priest. Then top right, we have Seth Rollins versus Jovan Evans versus Tala Tonga versus Ricky Saints. Then in the bottom right, we have main event Jey Uso versus LA Knight versus Royce Keys versus Finn Balor. And of course, if you take a look there, around all of the how do I put this? Around all of the superstars, there's the color. We have a blue or a red color. Now, not in the Hayes, Sikoa, Femi, and Penta. That is lit up in gold because that was the first match happening. But just look at all the other superstars. Their profile picture kind of around them is either red and blue, and that just kind of highlights their brand. So, of course, we see Dominic Mysterio, he's red. We see Talatonga, he's blue. You get the gist of it. But if you look at the bottom right of that photo, you see Finn Balor, and Finn Balor is lit up in blue. So on Raw, they officially confirmed that Finn Balor is heading to the blue brand, and it did definitely need to happen. So congrats to Finn Balor from getting out of that kind of Judgment Day hell. But of course, that is the King of the Ring tournament announced. I don't know if I'm going to get a video in on this, so I don't know. Of course, earlier we talked about how we could get Obafemi to win this tournament, because look at this, I don't see anyone beating Obafemi here. So Obafemi could win this tournament and get a spot at SummerSlam. Of course, the winner of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments will earn a title opportunity at SummerSlam on August 1st or 2nd. But of course, if Oba does win, that most likely means we aren't getting a Brock versus Oba match at SummerSlam. So it's a bit confusing. Of course, we're just going to have to wait and see how things play out. But if I had to give you a prediction for the King of the Ring tournament, it's probably going to be Obafemi. And if it isn't Obafemi, I might have to go with Braun Breaker or Trick Williams. But it is a bit of a tricky one because of the whole Oba and Brock situation. So the Queen of the Ring tournament also got announced on the post show. And of course, the finals of the King and Queen of the Ring tournament will be just taking place in a few weeks' time in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on June 27th. 2026. Of course, here are all the matches. In the top left, we see the world champion Liv Morgan. So if Liv wins this tournament, she could win both championships. She's already world champion, so she might hold the WWE Women's Championship if she advances to SummerSlam. But of course, Liv is facing Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and Chelsea Green next week on Raw. That match looks to be good. I feel like we might get maybe Alexa Bliss to advance. I don't know. That actually is a unpredictable match. I don't know who's going to win that. But I really want to see Chelsea Green advance because she just deserves more. In the bottom left, we see Sol Ruka, the new Intercontinental Champion. Of course, the former Intercontinental Champion, Lara Valkyria. And of course, Charlotte Flair and Jade Cargill. Now, my prediction to win this entire tournament is right there. Charlotte Flair. But of course, Charlotte is in there with Jade, so that will be an interesting match because of course we have been waiting to see a Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill match. So that will be interesting to watch in a couple of weeks' time. Don't know when it's going to happen, but it will be an interesting dynamic. Of course, that is my prediction to win. Then in the top right, we saw this match earlier on Raw. It was Roxanne Perez versus Io Sky versus Julia versus Lash Legend. And of course, Io Sky advanced, so congrats to her. That was a good match. Then the bottom right, we see Bayley versus Raquel Rodriguez versus JC Jane, which I don't think I've talked about her yet on this channel. She has been called up to SmackDown. I can't wait to see her with championship. And of course, Kiana James. So, of course, the bottom left of your screen is my prediction to win. I think we're going to see Charlotte Flair advance in this tournament, and I do think we're going to see Charlotte Flair win the Queen of the Ring tournament. So then at SummerSlam, we get Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. But that's my prediction for the Queen of the Ring tournament. And that brings us to the end of today's video. That's all I got for you guys. Of course, my official ratings are in. Of course, the 2026 WWE Clash in Italy premium live event was a great event. I really did enjoy it. And of course, I did post this on my social media. I post these after every Saturday night's main event and after every WWE premium live event to know your guys' official ratings on the show. So of course, if you want to join me in the next rating post I will be tweeting, will be on June 27th after Night of Champions. So of course, you see on the right side of your screen there, my X account. I only post on X, formerly known as Twitter. Follow me at the Tribal W or X. So follow me along there. And of course, you see that photo. The big photo is what the ratings were for Clash in Italy. So a whopping 100% of you guys, so every single one of you guys who voted on this poll rated the show between a 5 and a 7 out of 10. 0% of you guys said 0 to 4 out of 10, 0% said 8 to 9 out of 10, and 0% you guys said a amazing match of the year, 10 out of 10. So I agree with you guys. I do rate this a between 5 and a 7 out of 10. My official rating will just be off I'm going to rate this a 7.9, not a 7.5. I want to get the closest as 8 as possible. I just don't feel like this is the actual 8 spot for me. I just got a little feeling I don't think it deserves that 8 spot, but 7.9 is pretty impressive. Nothing to hate on. I would have rathered Cody Rhodes and Gunther to go longer. Same with the Beast versus the Ruler. But overall, it was a great show. Didn't really hate anything. And my match of the night, my official match of the night, was the WWE Women's Championship match between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. That was an amazing match. And going into Clash in Italy, I was not expecting that match to be better than something like Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi. But it really was. They have an amazing ring chemistry. We saw it at WrestleMania as well. Their match was great. But overall, this show was amazing. And now we are officially on the road to Night of Champions on June 27th. So we are finally done with predictions and reviews, because my past few videos have just been prediction, review, prediction, review, prediction, review, prediction, because we've had literally so many shows in the past few weeks and months. So it's concluded now until late June. So we're officially in June. We're officially in summer. So happy summer to everybody. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. What did you rate Clash in Italy 2026? With that being said, I will see you in the next video. And until then, remember to always stay tribal.